I have been doing hella shadow work lately. I've been doing a lot of shadow work. When I first started my spiritual journey, the idea of shadow work was so scary. It was so scary. It's not going to kill you, and what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie, and I help people live better lives mentally, physically, spiritually, aesthetically. I help people level up every aspect of their lives, to master their minds, to find better physical balance, to find better spiritual and emotional balance. And then after we find that alignment within, I help you manifest the life that looks good on the outside. So don't forget to click subscribe, because with me on your side, we're going to level your whole life up. If the concept of the shadow is new to you, I'm going to link a video up here. I highly recommend you go watch it, because we hear the term shadow and then we think dark, and we think dark and then we think evil. So we think it's like this horrible thing, and we think that it's all bad, but that's not true. Some of my greatest traits and some of my biggest strengths were hiding in my shadow. I'm considering this like shadow work 101. How to start with shadow work, and what is shadow work. In the most simplified version of it, shadow work is digging into some of our subconscious programming and starting to dig into the things that are hidden from us consciously. Our subconscious mind is constantly controlling everything that goes on in our lives. We basically want to like whip our subconscious into submission. And if we don't take the time to do that through shadow work, then we don't have control over our own lives. And the control that we have is just a facade. So the first step to shadow work, and the most important part, is that you have to be ready to admit harsh truths about yourself. A lot of the things that are in our shadow are going to be harsh. They're going to be hard to admit. If we want to change, if we want to grow, we have to be able to admit things to ourselves like, hey, that's not really working for you anymore. You got to change something up. You want to make sure that you're being honest with yourself. No one wants to lie to themselves. No one wants to waste their time. So the first step is really being able to admit a harsh truth to yourself. And honestly, harsh truths cut deep. So step number 2 in how to do shadow work is be prepared to deal with some emotional pain. And furthering on that, sometimes emotional pain is going to feel like physical pain. None of this is going to kill you, and that which doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. I promise that you will come out on the other side of shadow work stronger than ever. I am the strongest I've ever been, both physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And that's all because of the work that I've done to work with my shadow and to integrate my shadow. It didn't kill me. At sometimes it felt like I was gonna die, but I'm not dead, right? I don't use the term promise lightly. I feel like I need to say that anytime I say promise to someone, I'm like, by the way, a promise from me is a promise. Like, that is not a word that I use lightly. So I promise you, you're not going to die by admitting some harsh truths to yourselves and feeling a little bit of emotional pain. It's not the end of the world. It might feel like it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's not going to kill you. Step 3 in shadow work is self-reflection. And self-reflection can look different for everyone. For me, I'm very big on talking to myself, or even talking to trusted loved ones, maybe talking to a therapist if that's something that you do, talking to a spiritual counselor or a trusted confidant, talking to a friend, expressing yourself and reflecting on some of your experiences, some of the recurring themes and patterns in your life, looking to see if some of your habits are maybe the same. These themes, these patterns, these habits, they're often recurring throughout your life. Many times they will come in the form of relationships. Relationships are the biggest way that we can grow as people, that we can grow spiritually, that we can grow within our soul. I made a few videos about the importance of relationships. I'm going to link that playlist up here if you want to dig into different ways to look at relationships. We look at relationships as something that we can possess or something that we can hold, and we look at people as things that we need to have. But really, relationships are an opportunity for us to grow. And when I started looking at relationships as an opportunity to grow instead of something that I could hold and possess and keep or show off on social media, my whole life started changing. That actually made the shadow work a lot easier, because I started to be able to identify the patterns that I had in relationships. One of the patterns that I had in relationships was an extreme fear of rejection. The fear of rejection was so deep within me. Moving through the fear of rejection has been something that I've been doing for years now, and I can see how that has manifested in different relationships over the past few years. And one of those big moments, those big pivotal moments for me was around this same time last year. I made a video about how I lost 7 pounds overnight. It was an energetic weight that I lost because I really started to acknowledge that pattern and that fear of rejection. I'm going to link that video. It is not a pretty video. It is not a video for children either. There's going to be things that come up in your shadow, and some of the common things that come up are things like fear of rejection. My fear of rejection was also kind of tied to a feeling of unworthiness or like not being deserving, like feeling like I didn't deserve certain things. Some other very common themes that people will see in their shadow is like a fear of abandonment, or a fear of being perceived as weak or looking like a failure, or being vulnerable is a big thing. That was a huge thing for me. Like if you told me 5 years ago that I would be on the internet crying and sharing my weak points and like my vulnerabilities, I never would have believed you. Some other things that might come up in the shadow are control issues, like needing to control everything. There could be also shame and guilt hiding in the shadow. That might be a hard one for people to have come up. Another thing that's really common in the shadow is unexpressed desires, or like desires that we push down, that we don't acknowledge that we have this desire because we feel that we can never attain or obtain that desire. Those like unexpressed desires can also be tied to like those feelings of unworthiness or feeling like you don't deserve certain things. So there's also a lot of great things in the shadow. My strength to come out here and share everything that I share was hiding in my shadow. My confidence to come out here and share everything that I share was hiding in my shadow. The things that are in the shadow aren't always bad, but the things that are in the shadow that are harder to admit are typically the more crunchy ones. Admitting to yourself that you feel like you're not good enough, or admitting that you feel like you have a fear of abandonment, or that you feel like you don't want to be vulnerable. These are crunchy. These are just some of the things. There could be so many other things that could be found in the shadow. Like what's in your shadow is unique to you. But when you start to really self-reflect, whether you're journaling or you're sending yourself a voice note, just like talking through it, sitting with yourself, like it requires you to take time by yourself and sit with yourself and to really dig into what are the things that I've been doing? What are the experiences that I've been having? Very often, if we are not growing in relationships, you'll see that you have the same exact relationship example. It's like a different person, but it's the same story. You're like, oh, this is happening to me again. Or like, of course, this would happen to me. It's the same old story. If it's the same old story, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but the other person isn't the problem. You are the problem. I'm not someone who's going to sugarcoat shit for you. If you want someone who's going to tell you, like nice and easy what it is not me. Turn me off. Do not click subscribe. That person didn't do something to you. You allowed that person to do something to you. And now you have to uncover why you allowed that behavior towards you. And I made a video about that as well. I don't know who needs to hear this, but whatever you're going through, it is all your fault. At the end of the day, if we don't take responsibility for ourselves, we just want to be a victim and we just want to blame every single person around us for the circumstances in our lives, you're never going to grow. And if you want to grow, and chances are if you're watching this video, you want to grow. If you want to grow, you got to admit where you are actively participating in the things that bring you down. That's enough of my lecture. We're going to move on. The next step in shadow work is allowing those feelings to come up, because what's going to happen next, like you took the time to admit you're going to make some harsh truths to yourself. You took some time to admit that, okay, this might hurt a little bit. You're self-reflecting, you're identifying your patterns. What's next? Some shit is gonna bubble up. And I don't know what that's gonna look like for you. For me in the past, it's looked like a lot of crying. It's just been like a lot of sadness. It's been a lot of grief. All of those things are going to come up. Allow them to come up. Don't push it away. You know that feeling? It comes up in your throat and you swallow it and you push it down, right? We've all done it. Don't do that. Allow it to bubble up. Allow yourself to feel it. And I'm going to link another video here about feeling your feelings because sometimes we don't know how to feel our feelings. It's not something that we're taught. If allowing those feelings to come up is something foreign to you and you're like, Jackie, what does that mean? Like, you know you're swallowing it, but you don't know how to not swallow it. Just watch this video as well. And then the next step is allowing those feelings to consume you, allowing them to come up and allowing them to overpower you. And they are going to literally consume you. They are going to take over you. You are going to probably feel it all over your body. As I've mentioned, like, my fear of rejection is very real. When I first allowed it to come up and I first allowed myself to feel it, I was in the fetal position, laying on the hardwood floor, just like, like one of those. It felt like physical pain. It felt like I had gotten beat up. It felt like someone was squeezing my heart. I felt pain in my heart and it felt like I was going to die. I swear to you, it felt like I was dying. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It was not fun. It is not pretty. It felt terrible. And when I tell you, this shit was deep for me, so it lasted a couple of hours for me. I'm 36, so I was pushing that fear of rejection away for like 25 years. I had like 25 years of the fear of rejection building up inside of me that I had to work through. But if you can also imagine 25 years of that fear of rejection was just a little blip of an hour or two of pain. And it's not pain that lasts. Like, once it was over, I even started laughing hysterically. Like, I was just like, that was it? Because, like, once it was over, it's over. And you're like, I was pushing this down for so long just to avoid that little bit of pain. And I'm going to bring it back to what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. When you go through that pain, you are telling your subconscious mind, I can make it through anything. And do you know what a subconscious mind who can make it through anything does? Anything. Like, you literally make yourself invincible. That is the word that comes up, is like invincible. It also makes it a lot easier to move through. And if all of this sounds like a lot of work and all of this sounds like discouraging and you're like, I don't want to feel 2 hours of pain. I don't want to feel like someone's squeezing my heart. I don't want to feel like someone's beating me up. You know what's worse than 2 hours of pain, or even 5 hours of pain, or even a whole month of misery? An entire fucking lifetime of living in misalignment with your heart, in misalignment with your soul, and letting the subconscious mind control you, and being so scared of a few minutes of pain or a few hours of discomfort that you will now live your entire life in discomfort. If you're living in these programs and you're letting people use you and abuse you, treat you like shit, and you're going through these patterns that suck and you don't like them, because if you did like them, you wouldn't be here watching this video. If you really loved your life, you wouldn't be looking up on like how to change your life or how to do shadow work. You wouldn't care because you're living some great life and this wouldn't be something that you're looking into. What is worse, a few hours or a few days or a few months even of pain, or an entire lifetime? Because you know what happens is people get to their deathbed and they have a lifetime of regret. I don't know about you, but for me, I want to get to my deathbed and be like, wow, like, I lived such a beautiful life. I wasn't scared of anything. I was scared of everything for so long. Like, this is something that I've had to work towards. This is not something that came to me overnight. I haven't always been this way. If I made a YouTube channel 10 years ago, it would not be this content. If you subscribed here because you like me who I am now, you would not have liked the person that I used to be. I have had to work to become this person, and this person is happy every day. Not all day, every day. Life happens. But every day I touch happiness. And that's because of the work that I have done with my shadow. That is because the work that I have done to integrate my shadow. As I said, like, shadow work can be simplified. It doesn't have to be super, super big and super daunting. And I think that the most important step of shadow work, and this is the step that I'm going to leave off on, is to give yourself grace. I found a lot of stuff in my shadow. I allowed people to treat me so poorly, and That was the biggest thing that was in my shadow, was the self-abandonment, the disrespect that I gave myself in allowing other people to treat me certain ways. That was hard to swallow. That was harder to swallow than the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of being seen, like all these fears that I had, these insecurities. I was so fucking insecure. I mean, I'm still insecure. We're all insecure. We're humans. The hardest part of what was in my shadow was really digging into the times that I hurt myself. And I really just needed to be kind to myself. And I like, this might make me cry because I've come so far in my relationship with myself, and I've come so far to love myself. And it hurts to see some of the things that you allowed yourself to put up with, and some of the things that like you let other people treat you in certain ways just because you didn't want to be alone, or just because you were afraid of what it might say if you guys weren't together anymore, or what people might think if you and your best friend aren't best friends anymore, what that might look like and what other people might say. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone says. At the end of the day, the thing that's most important is your relationship with yourself, and you know, being able to look in the mirror and be happy with the reflection you see. And that's another aspect of shadow work. Like if you're having a hard time with all of this, just sit in the mirror. Just sit with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself you love you. Tell yourself that you're there for him or her, and just be there for yourself. Because at the end of the day, like what we come into this world with is ourselves, and what we leave this world with is ourselves. And the most important relationship that you have in your life is your relationship with yourself. And if you're looking into shadow work, chances are you're working on your relationship with yourself. Give yourself grace. Please just give yourself grace. Give yourself kindness. You deserve kindness. You deserve to feel what it feels like when someone is kind to you. So give yourself that kindness first and foremost, always and forever. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Again, my name is Jackie, and I help people live better lives mentally, physically, spiritually, aesthetically. I make new videos every Wednesday, so do not forget to click subscribe, and I will see you next week.